It's your favorite chaotic luxury beauty creator back to actually review some luxury beauty. I have new stuff from Dior today. I have new stuff from Westman Atelier. I have old things from Dior. I have old things from Westman Atelier. I have two new powders. Laura Mercier came out with a new translucent loose setting powder in an ultra blur tone up persuasion, so that's like a color theory thing. And if that doesn't work, we have the RMS Hydra setting powder, which looks like it has potential. It might be one of those ones that feels wet on the skin. I don't know. I make absolutely no promises. We're gonna try and make something cute happen, and I'm gonna have final thoughts for you at the end, so let's go ahead and jump in. I have way too many primers to put on my face, and I also tried a new sunscreen today that I'm only gonna tell you what it is if it doesn't pill when I do this. So I have a chemical sunscreen on and a physical sunscreen. The physical sunscreen is one that I haven't used in a while, and it feels fantastic on the skin, and I like really want to recommend it to y'all because it's like matte, and there's so few chemical sunscreens or mineral sunscreens that aren't dewy, but I just feel like it's gonna pill. This is the Westman Atelier. I'm like, I don't even want to rub. Westman Atelier Skin Activator. We are activating my skin right now, but this stuff is really, really beautiful. It's not pilling. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. Okay, so I'll tell you. It's the Versed sunscreen, so it's very inexpensive. And it's got this like a little bit of pink to it, but I was expecting it to come off really tinted, but it's not at all. I would say it's like barely color correcting. The only thing is like once you get it all the way on, since it is kind of matte, you want to like get close to the mirror and make sure that there aren't any like collections of the mineral barrier, you know, and then you can just kind of tap them out or whatever. I feel like that's sort of the trade-off when you have a physical sunscreen that's not like super dewy glossy on the skin. Come on, this stuff is so incredible. It's so beautiful. I really wanted to hate it because it's so expensive, but it is refillable. You know, this little guy comes out if your hands aren't incredibly slippery with serum already, and it's just quite lovely. Cute, cute, cute. By the way, I have heard absolutely zero feedback on the void. The fact that I took the painting out from behind me. I did it again because I went on Patreon and we did like a color analysis on my friend. That will be up soon, you know, when I get around to it. But I just kind of like it. It's very clean. But if it's like blinding and weird on y'all's TVs or something, please let me know, because I only see what I can see. All right, I'm using this as an opportunity to use some of the Dior stuff that I have bought lately that I haven't gotten to like use more than once on camera. But the new things today are the Dior Forever Skin Perfector. This is in the shade 1N, which I believe is like a half a shade darker than the liquid foundation that I have from Dior. And then this is the 01 Light Dior Forever Skin Contour Stick. Sculpting. They're very, very cute. They're very, very fragranced, but you know, I don't really care about that. Now that I've found the elixir of life that is, see, it's a little bit like, it's my skin tone, yes, but like if it gets to be close to winter, it's gonna be too dark for me, you know? But yeah, since I found the elixir of life that is the First Aid Beauty lotion, their basic lotion, and I don't have to worry about my perioral dermatitis right now, I'm drunk with power. That's how I feel. So that is like the prettiest color of a contour. Let me swatch that against like some other main character contours that I have. Also, I told you my child likes when things fit inside of things, and he was incredibly entertained. I mean, who wouldn't be? By these Queen Musia lipstick packages. If y'all haven't seen my stories talking about these are really great. They're like the Prada lipsticks, except not fragrance, you know, so you don't taste them. They're not in as interesting of colors, but I also find them to be more wearable in that sense, so do with that what you will. I also love this packaging. It's cute. Actually, we're gonna be using a mascara from them today. It's heavy. This thing is a weapon. You could just absolutely take someone out with this thing. So we'll see if the mascara holds up to the packaging. Anyway, I feel bad like dishonoring his artwork here. There's also a Lily Sadoogie headband just like balanced on a drawer handle over here. Like he's an artist, and I just, you know, want to respect that. So we'll know where the Queen Musia lipsticks are when we need them. At least 4 of them are inside of a microphone muffler. I really feel like there was a thought that I didn't finish there. Oh, I was gonna swatch it against some other contours. That's what I was going to do. Here's the one from Makeup Forever, one of my favorite, like very gray contours. So you can see it's much cooler. It looks purple by comparison. So we are talking about something that's gonna work nicely as a bronzer. It kind of looks like, if I had to guess, it looks like it's gonna be similar to Biscuit from Westman Atelier. It's lighter and cooler. So if you have a Biscuit, I mean, Biscuit is gonna be kind of a bronzer by comparison to that lightest shade. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the Glow Star Filter here. I have this in 0 and it's beautiful. You know, this might actually be really helpful because 0 is pretty pale and kind of cool toned. Maybe, just maybe, it'll mix together with the 1N shade and balance it out. You really are the most devious vampire in New York City. What is wrong with me today? Why am I doing this with a sponge? The world may never know. I think it's because I'm afraid, again, of pilling. I have so many layers of things on my skin right now. I love this stuff. I think it's prettier than the Hollywood Flawless Filter. I think it is very comparable, at least in shade, to the Auric Glow Lust, but it's thinner on the skin. And so I like the amount of glow that I get without the kind of syrupiness, so it layers well underneath things. I have now applied this a couple of different ways. I have gone in with my finger and used it sort of like a concealer, and then I have also just all over my face and used it as a foundation. I'm gonna go somewhere in between today because I do feel like it doesn't really show you the strengths of the formula if I just dibbity dab it on, but also when you just smear it all over your face, I feel like it also kind of does it a disservice. It has a lot of coverage, which makes it really flexible in terms of like not having to wear very much in order to get the effect. And since this is such like a dangerously close to my skin tone skin match, I thought I wasn't recording for a second. I was like gonna lose my mind. Am I okay? The answer is no. Dangerously close skin tone match. That means that it'll blend in really seamlessly to the rest of my skin. And that's just nice. I put on a full face of it at one point, full coverage, what have you, and it just looked kind of phony on me. And I don't think that that would be the case for everyone. I just think that like I'm not used to seeing myself that way, and it is a little bit of a matte finish. Or at least on me it is, because my skin soaks up any moisture that's in anything at any time. Any hoodles, I'm going to now contour and then we'll conceal. I'm gonna use that same brush. I love this little guy. This is the Soft Coverage F48 from Sigma. I ate breakfast, but I'm still so hungry. This phenomenon in my life, and I'm sure y'all can relate to this because if you can stand me, then you probably are also a fan of caffeine. I have always been the person who like wakes up and immediately has coffee. And for that reason, I have always had a reputation of being like a morning person slash kind of obnoxious in the morning, and I have to sort of temper that because like, for example, my boyfriend does not drink coffee first thing in the morning and he's like, whoa, you're on one. And I'm like, okay, dial it back, Kackie. But yeah, so when I was a hairstylist, oh my gosh, you know, you get in there 9 a.m. and you're just like a venti Starbucks iced latte deep. I remember people just had to be like, Kackie, oh my God, just slow down. So that's how I feel right now. It's 11:25 in the morning right now. Okay, so I definitely went in a little hard with that, but I think it's because it's such a nice shade. It is cooler than Biscuit though, so I do need to be a little more careful, but like, I think it is a very kind, you know, forgiving sort of bronzer shade. I think that that's really lovely. Again, that's 01. Everything's looking really, really great on top of the Star Filter too. It's very reflective. It's almost like I can't turn my lights down enough for it to not be reflective, but we're gonna put in some powder and everything else, so we're gonna put it on. So yeah, for all of my astrology and non-astrology people out there, tolerate me for a minute. Mercury did go retrograde last night, and I mean, we are just feeling it. My goodness, like all of the thoughts that are leaving my mouth are being misconstrued. I'm taking everything personally. I don't know, like, but then also Venus is in Virgo. Like that happened at exactly the same time. Virgo's in its fall, so that's not that ideal, but nonetheless, like over the weekend, I felt this very strong urge. I'm going to go in with the Forever Skin Correct from Dior. And I don't want to like freak anyone out. I'm not like gonna try and proselytize about astrology. To me, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just like a pattern recognition sort of thing. But anyway, I found myself really motivated to like get my house in order. This is the shade 0.5N. Yeah, so I like decided, I was like, oh, I need a rack for the back door so that like my kids' bags aren't always just sitting on the dining room table. I wanna like hang them up. And then I bought a stool so that we can store our shoes on it so that my mudroom can actually be a mudroom, you know, so that we can actually walk in and set our stuff down and it's not just sitting everywhere. And I'm investing in a lot of other kind of storage things to get things off of surfaces. I am like hanging art that I've been meaning to hang. I'm moving art art that, you know, was in places that I didn't want it or whatever, or just felt temporary. I mean, I just went on kind of a rampage. Every time I saw something that annoyed me, I just went on Amazon and found like a solution, like a storage solution for it. I was like, nope, those sunglasses. I have like 10 pairs of sunglasses. They're just sitting there. My kid wants to play with them. I'm like, that's not a toy, you know? And then he gets upset because he's like, why is that not a toy? And I'm like, I just need to store these, you know, in a place that they are safe. And then I do also have a couple of pairs he is allowed to play with, but like, you know, he's 4. What do you want? Okay. Now that I'm a reflective surface, I will turn my light down. There we go. Very pretty. Looks absolutely gorgeous in person. That's how these things tend to go. When you're very luminous in person, they look pretty freaky on camera. And so, you know, that's why YouTubers often powder, even when we wouldn't in real life kind of thing. All right, the other thing that I picked up from Dior, I got this. This is the Rouge Blush Color and Glow, and I got it in 257 Dior Riviera. Dior Riviera.
corretto.
And it's this lovely pink, rosy pink. It's a little bit of like a slightly warmer pink. Like it's got a little bit of coral in it. I wouldn't say that it's lilac. And then this highlighter, which I think is a very disproportionate amount of highlighter. Like you're never gonna, like it should have been like 3/4 of it is blush and then 1/4 of it is highlighter, because where else on your face are you going to put highlighter? You know, whereas I am absolutely pounding blush on. Nonetheless, absolutely beautiful colors. And then the highlight itself, be aware, is quite glittery. Like it has individual, almost like multi-chrome particles in there. It reminds me a little bit of Mermaid Glow from Chanel. There it is. Wow, that was remarkably fast. Yes, oh my God, they're so similar. So if you can see that, that is the Dior highlighter and that is Mermaid Glow. Mermaid Glow's got a little more purple in it, but they have the same refractive quality to them, but Mermaid Glow is cream, a balm, and then this is a powder. And honestly, as far as that's concerned, I really don't think that's a particularly unique pink, but it is pretty. The thing that I found using these, I kind of want to powder first because first of all, I've used it twice and it's already hard panning. That's probably because I need to clean my brushes, but also it's so packed. Like it's baked, I think. I can never tell, but I think that that's baked in order to have that embossing on it. And so I already need to like scotch tape it, and you really have to dig a brush in there to get it out in the first place. I'm actually going to use, I think, a Refer brush on it today. I have been really loving those for that kind of powder because they're natural bristle and they just do a really, really great job. So I'm going to use this bad boy, but first we're going to get into this powder, or possibly both powders. Okay, so this came in a set of 2 to me, the new Laura Mercier. Y'all, these are not new. I went on Sephora and they're like on sale. I don't know. I get sent stuff. It happens with Bare Minerals and Laura Mercier specifically. I get sent stuff that's just no temporal context, and I can never know whether something is new from them or not. Ugh. I need to do a better job of checking ahead of time, but I assumed that these were like new versions of it, but I don't end up liking it anyway, so, you know, whatever. That's quite pink. Not sure how I feel about that. That is quite pink. No, and I mean, I know that that's the point, but it's supposed to be pink in like a brightening way, like a color correcting way, and it's pink in a pink way. I don't like that. Let's try the RMS. Let's see what it feels like. How cute is that? I don't know if you can see that. It says RMS, like the actual, what's it called? The filter. Ah, it's so cute! Why is that so entertaining to me? All right, shaky, shaky, boop, boop, boop. Hey, just all over me, that's fine. All right, I don't think it's the like wet feel, but let's see. Try, really? Glides on nicely over that other powder. I mean, anything would, I'm kidding. So, really nice finish on it. I wouldn't say it's like a brightening shade, and it doesn't look like it's got any iridescence to it or anything, but it's very, whoo, like micro fine, you know? Their old one was kind of micro fine, but it was so white. It was like kind of hard to use, and also not really for very many people. That's really lovely. They probably came out with shades in this. I haven't looked, this just came in the mail. I would say that they probably do because their SPF came in shades, and that even surprised me. The whole RMS 2.0 of it all, they're a little more aware. That's really, really pretty. Okay, RMS, all right. That's really, really lovely. I like the package too. This feels really abundant, and the branding is it's nice and pretty and like it just feels kind of luxury without being over the top. I like it. I like that a lot. It is everywhere though. Got my Refer 05 here, and I've got my new Dior now covered in translucent powder. And we're going to go in here. I might grab my tape. I just want to go ahead and get the hard pan off. So I've got my Scotch tape, and this works like a charm. This is something I can't really take credit for. One of my viewers told me about this. No more scraping pans. You just get the hard pan off just like that. It is a nice abundant pan too. I love that they didn't waste any space by putting a useless little brush in there, but again, I would have preferred that the highlight was smaller and the blush was bigger. This comes in a bunch of different shades. I got this one because the highlight looked like it wasn't gonna be too dark for my skin. Like, do they have a really lovely lilac? Yes. Do they have a really lovely coral? Yes. Those are kind of my two go-tos right now, but I went for this medium pink because I wanted to be able to use both. Very, very pretty. Super low pigment though. I shouldn't say low pigment, slow building. It's because of the baked nature of it, and also just that's sort of the nature of a lot of like luxury color cosmetics anyway. But being aware of that, I'm really like, you know, digging in there. Don't take my application as like, oh, that's how it's gonna go on me. Not necessarily. I am being really aggressive, and I'm using, like I said, a very aggressive natural bristle brush, and I really feel like it helps with that kind of thing. So I also haven't put any bronzer on. That's just one shade of blush, and it's so pretty. It's so pretty. And we are getting a little gummy from all of the stuff that I put on underneath my foundation. So, you know, if you're not seeing that on camera, it is coming through in person, but hopefully it'll all melt together, and it's just makeup at the end of the day. But yeah, I think that that was more like user error than anything else. I also have, I mean, I've been loving this regardless, but this is the ARMANI Beauty Bronzer. This is in the shade 90. It's a little bit olive. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So let's use that in this little area that's getting lost between the blush and the contour. Grabbing this little brush, this is like a $300 brush from Suede that I did not pay for. This was sent to me because Suede is incredibly generous. So subtle and beautiful. And this does have shimmer in it in the pan, but I think it's kind of a spray over. I'm not totally sure. I don't get glitter on the skin. Like, that's not an issue that I've had with this. Looking very healthy, although my face is like kind of a different color than my body, but what are you gonna do? Let's go in with that highlighter and just see how we do. I mean, I've worn it before, but let's just see what happens. I'm gonna use this Rare Beauty highlighter brush. Do a little bit of that. I like to put highlighter kind of up here, not down on the top of my cheek. More right there, because my cheekbones are really high. I feel like when I put it right there, it sort of lowers them. So it's like corner of the eye into the temple, and even like brow bone. Oh my God. And then it's also an extension of the eyeshadow, and I feel like it doesn't look like a weird highlighter stripe on my cheek, you know? That's the thing, is the reason that I teach color theory on my channel is because not every like kind of widely used application method works on everybody's face. And so it helps you examine the reasons that you're doing things. You're like, am I putting a highlighter there because someone else put a highlighter there? Or am I putting a highlighter there because that's actually where the light hits my face? And like, the light hits my face kind of here, but I feel like that's already fine. Like, that's already highlighted enough. But like here, that's more where it is. It's not there as much. So lift. Man, I'm on one today. I also was watching Naomi John right before I got on camera, and her most recent video, she's on one too. Like, she's extra on one, so. Alrighty. This is actually looking quite lovely. Like, I'm very pleasantly surprised. Granted, I have Botox on my crow's feet, so like, it might enhance texture there if you have it. The reason that it's so nice and smooth is not the highlighter, it's because of Botox. So that's just full disclosure, but it looks really, really lovely. And I really like that RMS powder so much more than I liked that pink one from Laura Mercier. I don't know what we're gonna do in the eyes, if anything. I think we should do something. There were people asking me to recreate some of the looks from my previous videos, and a lot of what I've been doing lately, I actually pulled out the Bobbi Brown eyeshadow sticks again. It made for a really beautiful eye look, so maybe I will use some of those. Is that gonna be too much? Because I was gonna use the Westman Atelier Garconne blush, but I feel like we've got enough stinking blush on. I really like what's happening here. And then I also got this Westman Atelier I can't open it. This thing is so annoying. I like have to stick a paint swatch in. It's like opening a scallop. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about opening this little guy. So this is the Lip Suede from Westman Atelier. This video is all over the place. I just have so much stuff to share, so much stuff that I'm excited about. So I'm gonna do this and then see if it leaves me room to do something on my eyes. How's that? So if you're unfamiliar with this, you can barely really see because I've just been going straight in, but it's 4 stripes of different colors. And that beige right there in the middle, it makes it so that these are all so muted and delicious. I was really concerned that this was going to be something that I never got any use out of because I thought it was just gonna be too dark. But look at that color. And I can just go in the middle if I want it to be lighter, because it'll just be that beige. Or I can go over here to make it brickier. I feel like these are really similar. The outside ones are just really similar, so. It's just a really nice nude, it's like so neutral, you know? So it really matches my skin tone and my lips and stuff, but it does make me now want to go in with Garconne a little bit because it's a little more purple than the cheeks. I'm gonna demo how easily that you can adjust the temperature of a makeup look just by adding the tiniest touch of a different blush. So Garconne is quite cool and pretty desaturated. There's a lot of gray in there. And I'm just gonna use that to touch right there because that's sort of where you look, right? Sort of where the eye goes. It's like if this is the area the blush is, this is the center. And it just kind of changes the local color a little bit. A little on the end of the nose. And you get something that's just slightly cooler. Just ever so slightly, and it really goes with the lips better. Easy squeezy, mac and cheesy. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, what does that mean for the eyes? I want something so utterly chill. I'm going to pull something out of the annals of history. Have I learned a lot of things in my life? Sure. Did they stick in my brain? Absolutely not. Why? Because my brain is overloaded with storing makeup information. So I pulled out probably a dangerously old Starfish from CHANTECAILLE, which is an absolutely beautiful. My battery died, and in that time period, I decided that I think I'm too afraid to use this Starfish. I've had this since I lived in Texas. I don't know the nature of an eyeshadow. Y'all can let me know. I'm gonna keep it around for swatching purposes, but I don't think that I want to put it on my eyeballs. But I pulled a couple of other things that we can combine with at least one of the Bobbi Brown sticks. And I think that it's going to kind of recreate the layering that I have on my own cheeks at the moment. And so I have a brand new Ray from Hourglass because I finished the last one. And then this is Tea Rose. This is what my brain went straight to. It's perfect. Perfect for this look. It's just that really nice mauve leaning brownie color. So that's from Victoria Beckham. So let's start with these Bobbi Brown guys here. This one is quite like, I feel like the colors here, hello, hi. Have no idea, have nothing to do with the colors here. You know, like those are two very different colors. It's almost lavender, which could be useful. Let's do that. Let's do that first. We'll just go on the lid here with the kind of lavender. Every time I think that a color is gonna be too light for me, it actually ends up working perfectly. Like look how pretty and visible that is. Go on the outer corner here as well. The best kind of brush I've found for this kind of product is like a 206 from BK because it's like a paintbrush, you know? Focus. I need you to focus because I need to blend my eyeshadow. Look, time is of the essence. I don't have time to worry about you and your focusing problems. Camera. That's what it looks like. Beautiful, beautiful. Very pretty. And then I will take this one right here, which is Cinnamon. Woo! Yes. It's got that lovely warmth to it, so we're not gonna get too gray. Blendy, blendy. I really think that eyeshadow sticks are very underappreciated because one, they're actually a lot easier to use than you would think. They're a lot easier to blend, a lot easier to apply. And two, God, once you get them down, they wear all day. And I feel like they are like idiot proof in terms of manufacturing. I have yet to meet one where I'm like, this is a bad eyeshadow stick, you know? And I'm sure that they exist. And sometimes it would be like in the clean beauty space back in like 2019, I would meet a bad one because they were so like waxy and they never dried down because they like were trying not to use silicones. let me tell you, the reason they work is because of silicones. So that's really pretty. I have this Sigma diffused blender brush. This is the E24. I'm gonna go in with Ray right here. Ooh. And we'll see where that gets us. It might be too, what am I trying to say? It might be enough without T-Rose. That's quite lovely. I think that that's enough, honestly. I don't know if we need to use T-Rose because T-Rose is so purple. Very nice. Ooh, ooh. Maybe I use it just a touch, right here. Yeah, just a tiny bit of T-Rose out there. I'm not really sure it's making a difference, but it's just kind of adding to the coolness. In my mind, it is, at least. Now I have Moonstone from Bobbi Brown. And I'm gonna do that, and then I think I'll go in with some of the, ooh! Now that actually lights up. Look at that. I always say that you can't get shimmer out of an eyeshadow pencil. I never say it right. An eyeshadow stick, crayon thing, you know what I mean? But look at that, that really shows up. Take notes, rare beauty. My socks are off. This is where everybody takes to Reddit and they're like, all she does is the same makeup look every single time. Guess what? Why fix what ain't broke? It helps people to see the differences between products. Okay, here is a really nice color theory lesson. Because I used colors that are so close to each other and something warm in the crease, we ended up with my eyes looking so small. So small. And so I want to put something dark and a little cooler on the outer corner, and I want it to absorb light. So I want to use a powder. I'm gonna grab my YSL 300 here, and I'm going to grab it tiny bit of that dark brown. I'm gonna do my placement first so that I make sure they're symmetrical, and then just blend outside of my outer corner to obscure the outside of my eyelid and make it look like my eyelid just kind of keeps going. Like that. A little bit better. I think that's a little bit better. Okay, I'm gonna do eyeliner and ooh, I have to do the Queen Musia mascara, but I don't need to explain it while it's happening. But I am going to use Victoria Beckham Cinnamon, I believe, because I want this all to stay really like soft. I love that. Oh, actually first, I wanted to see what happens if I use a little bit of the Dior highlighter on top of that Bobbi Brown in my inner corner, if it makes any difference at all. It's not lovely. And then I'm gonna use this Queen Musia. This is a black mascara. We'll see. We'll see if I can do a black mascara today. I mean, we'll do it, but like, we'll see if it makes any difference, because sometimes I just don't like a black mascara on me. But yeah, that and some brows. All right, I think that that's good for now until I want to put on my clear brow gel. My eyes look awesome. They look so cool. I want to see how long it takes for this mascara to dry. I think it's kind of a normal amount of time, but it's not excessively long because it's so lightweight. I'm like, okay, is this something that's going to be really good at holding a curl? Because I actually have grown accustomed recently to, I'm liking these like slow building mascaras that are a little bit more subtle, because I have gotten more into wearing things on my lips. Today isn't one of those days necessarily, but like, I don't always want my eyes to pull focus. I just kind of want them to do their job, and that's it. And especially if I'm not wearing any eye makeup and I just want to put on mascara, something that is really lightweight can be really lovely. Is it weird to say that it's not like a really aggressive black? It's not blue black? I don't know. I made a reel over the weekend about my coffee having olive undertones. Sometimes I just need to like keep inside thoughts inside. Okay, so let's have some final thoughts here. First of all, I really think that this is something that I like want to keep in my routine all the time. It's so beautiful, and no matter what I have on my skin, especially with that Versed sunscreen, I will link that below because it's lovely. It's really, really nice because it's matte and it's huge. It's a huge, like very, very cost-effective bottle of face sunscreen. It's wild. But anyway, I really thought it was gonna pill. At least with this, it did not. This is this beautiful Westman Atelier serum. I adore this, and you don't really need much. You need like one pump, you know, per face of makeup, and it makes everything glow before you put makeup on, but it's not sludgy. This, I think I put on too much. I didn't want to rub it in because I didn't want to disrupt all the other stuff that I had on my skin. But the Forever Glow Star Filter, I do feel like it made my face a little gummy today. You know, everything just looks a little bit thick in person, a little bit cakey looking, and it's very airbrushed, you know, on camera. But like, you can say, what is that on my cheek? I think it's mascara, I'm not sure. But like, yeah, you know, it's just a little bit, it's kind of sludgy. So yeah, I'll be honest, this kind of wore yucky. I would not recommend using the Star Filter and using as much powder as I did. It's just too much. I asked too much of it and it made kind of a sludgy mess. So it's like, look at it, it's kind of like peeling off. I really do think it's the Star Filter. Like, I think that was the main issue. It really is temperamental when you try and kind of layer other textures on top of it, and it's not an inexpensive product. So, you know, if you want to experiment with stuff like that, stick with your e.l.f. Stick with your e.l.f. Flawless Filter. I think that this is actually pretty cool. Like, as these things go, right? You know, Dior's gonna have a big shade range, which is great. They tend to cater to every undertone really well. Like, they're probably one of the only brands that I've seen that has a really exhaustive shade range of olive undertones. And so that's really cool too. This is, if you're my skin twin, like it's dangerously close to being too dark, but like for that reason, it gives me this really nice richness to my complexion. Like, am I gonna put it here? No, because then I would have to like cover my body in it kind of thing. But it's really nice for like this top 2/3 of my face where I really don't have much makeup on here at all. So I love that it's a really close skin tone match because I don't have to like put it everywhere. And the formula, while it looks really like dewy right now, it's actually got a nice sort of hybrid finish to it. It feels very silicone-y on the skin, but also creamy. And I think that that's going to lend itself really well to a lot of different skin types, because if it works on me just because I prepped my skin differently, it's going to work on people who have oilier skin and be a long wearing, very flattering texture. Do you see how it's pretty matte when I just put it directly on my hand? It's a pretty, very pretty kind of powdery finish, but it adapts really well if you put kind of something moisturizing underneath it. I'm pretty impressed, and I love the color of this contour. I love it, and it's one of those things that it's very much like the Westman Atelier in the sense that, like, I mean, you need none. It takes nothing to get the effect, and I think it's actually really easy to work with. It's just super pretty, and again, a very forgiving kind of color. I want to actually swatch that against the Charlotte Tilbury powder because that's the one that I always go towards because it is so bronzer-y. So there is the Charlotte Tilbury. It's going to be a little bit warmer, but like not by much. They're just, you know, you see a lot of my skin coming through, but like if I spread this out, the Dior is still more of a contour. Cool toned folks, rejoice. It is a very, very good bronzer for cool tones, and for me, it makes a really lovely contour. I still love this bronzer. Can't recommend it highly enough. If it's the color that works for you, it's absolutely gorgeous and abundant for, you know, a lot of money. Yes, it's like $58, but like it's just, there's something so luxurious about a pan that size. It's wonderful. The Dior Blush, this is not a run, do not walk situation. I would say if you are fascinated by the highlighter, that's probably the biggest draw for this to me. Like, it's just unique in the sense that they had the guts to put a lot of like multi-chrome particles in there because it reminds me a lot of Mermaid Glow, but it's less purple. So it's like more of a neutral Mermaid Glow in a powder form, which could be exactly what you want. And I know I complained that, oh, you know, you're not gonna be able to use that much highlighter. It would also make an absolutely delicious eyeshadow topper, like delicious. So again, like, there are a lot of colorways in this, and I don't think that the blush is particularly special, although when something is baked like this, it tends to leave a really nice finish on the skin if you haven't gone to so much trouble to make your skin gummy like I did. But also, you can get a baked blush anywhere. You know, baked blushes are not just a luxury product. I do really like this. I think it's really pretty. I'm glad that I got it, but I would say that like the blush is pretty unspecial, even from like a color standpoint. What really makes these special is if you are excited about that powder highlight. Powder, speaking of, you know, we've got the Laura Mercier, the new one, the Rose, and let me just say, it didn't do anything brightening for me. It did something pink for me. And if you're new to my channel, I don't think I've talked about it very much recently, but I have this thing that I detest that tends to happen to me sometimes. And it happens when I would use like the same brush for too many products, or I get carried away with blush. I get something called pink face because I'm neutral. And so I have to really like take pains to stay neutral because everything wants to turn pink on me. All reds want to turn pink on me. My skin kind of cancels out any like purples or cool tones, and so you end up just kind of with this pink. And so a lot of things can go pink, and so this didn't do the brightening thing that it should have. I would have done a lot better with something that was a little bit peach for brightening. That doesn't mean it's not going to work for other people, but bear in mind, like, this is not some kind of like magical color changing powder. It's just pink. It's just a pink version of the Laura Mercier powder, and I think that the original Laura Mercier powder is just fine. Now this, I don't know what to compare this to. You know what this reminds me of? You know what this reminds me of? This is a very high compliment. I haven't used it in a really long time, but it reminds me of the old Cover FX powder. This is, again, my brain is just full of these kinds of references. Why? I don't know. I walk into Ulta or Sephora and I'm like that woman with like all the math swirling around her head. Like, I'm just like, ooh, I know all the history. I know your parents. But this is really lovely. I'm not gonna say it's like the most special powder in the world, but it's really, really nice. And I think as far as RMS is concerned, like, this is just kind of another home run for them. They just keep putting out products that are just good. Like, their blushes are just good. Those lipsticks, oh, they're coming out with more shades in them, like, that are more subtle and soft. They're just really good. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I think I'm gonna keep it out. I don't really use a loose powder. Hardly ever. It's like why I don't reach for the Givenchy or anything. I think that I just prefer a pressed powder. We will see if this makes it into rotation, but if you are a loose powder person, this is really, really lovely. Like, y'all saw it go on, especially on top of the gummy situation that I have on my skin. It did a really good job of mattifying without adding a lot of coverage. And also, like, I don't feel like it's over dry underneath my eyes, which is huge for me. I also meant to use this. So this is the Divine Water from M Cosmetics. I don't know if this does, it probably does, do something really lovely to the makeup, but it smells so good. I want to wear it as a perfume. I want cookies that taste like it. I don't understand. And when I say cookies, I mean, it would be like a macaron in, you know, in France or something. Like, I don't know what this smell is, but it's floral and sweet and so delicate. So delicate. It's like a delicate violet smell. Wow, look what that did. I'm pretty sure this is sold out. When I looked, it was sold out. I should call that miracle water. Anyway, the Westman Atelier lip. Wow, wow, wow. If you have been looking at these and you're like, are they too matte? They are really matte. They absorb light in a really cool way. Like, they kind of give that like French girl lip that's very easy to like smudge and wear in like that beautiful sort of like powdery imperfect way. But they are color. You know, they're a lot more color and really not a lot of hydration of any kind. That's a look, it is, but on me, I need a little bit more most days. And I find that this little guy, which I of course cannot open, it's wonderful if you can get it open. I need to like bring a spoon with me everywhere I go or something if I wanted to apply this on the go. Westman Atelier, what are we doing here? The magnets are too strong or something, like you just can't get into it. For someone who has, I don't, but if someone had any kind of mobility issues with their hands or something, like this would be $75 of just like, what's in there? I don't know. Or like leave it open at all times. I don't know, but like it is, although, well, $75 and you can pop the pan out. That's probably what people would have to do. You got a safety pin here. Hello, my friend. So pretty unspecial once you get it out of that lovely component, but it is a replaceable pan. It is extraordinarily magnetic. I have just sort of misgivings on the fact that like this is just so impossible to open, and what a shame, because my God, it's beautiful. I mean, look at that. I kind of want to wipe the top off just so that you can like see the colors a little bit. Yeah. I made a mess. And I think you could use this as blush too, no problem. God, that's pretty. Wow. So anyway, if anybody has advice on how to make that a little bit easier going forward, I would be happy to hear it. But this does get my full-throated endorsement as far as the actual product inside is concerned, but the packaging leaves something to be desired. Is that everything? I think that's everything. And if not, I'm sorry. Thank you for hanging out with me today on this very casual, unscripted video, because every once in a while we just gotta actually, by God, get on here and review beauty. And if y'all enjoyed this, please do give the video a thumbs up. Let me know how you feel about the void. I know that it's going to have some people divided. So I want to know exactly how divided we are on the void. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Kackie. This is what we typically do on my channel, is review beauty, but I do it in a lot of different forms. So we talk about color theory. I'll do deep dives on certain products. I'll do very intense comparisons because I have this enormous collection of makeup. And then lately I've been kind of getting into a little bit more commentary around consumer culture, and those are a lot of fun too. I love to just drag TikTok. It is just a bottomless abyss of bad takes. So if that sounds good to you, subscribe while you're here. Put a video up here that I think you'll enjoy if you like this one. Thank you for being here, y'all. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one.